Just answering questions with WAPTech. Do not rate, comment, subscribe, or watch the video. Pause it, read the description, and if it's worth your time, you can watch the video. The following video is a debunking video. In order to debunk something, I have to bring up the lies that I'm debunking. I'm not promoting them, I'm discussing them. As inspired by several comments on my channel, I'm going to be making a set of statements about what are the takeaways from something that happened a while ago and why some people can't let themselves believe these takeaways, even though they're very valuable in America where things like this happen. The sound of a real gunshot, which most people do not experience, and even shooters don't experience because they don't put themselves near a target when shots are being fired, as a very obvious no-no. And even people who are in the military don't experience gunshots being fired from an elevated position down into a crowd that's packed together while music was playing at the time, much less during a chaotic scene where people are running around trying to get away. The only thing close to that are shots coming from airplanes, and they're not the same as what we're talking about because you probably read the title and figured out what this is about. Real gunshots can make one think a shot is coming from many directions due to the fact that the shot makes one noise. The bullet, as it passes by you, creates a cone, a shock wave, that creates another noise that has nothing to do with the gun going off, and it makes a popping noise because the bullet's moving beyond the speed of sound or near it. So you think it's coming from many directions, one direction, the opposite direction, something seemingly unrelated, or from multiple sources. You can't figure out where the bullet's being fired from. You don't know which direction is safe. And ignoring that is something that some people do because they don't want to let go of something they believe gives them some, pun intended, ammo in the comment section someplace. Or, more accurately, if they're not being petty, they cling to it to try to have a weird sense of hope for the future. 8 rounds were fired from 2 out of 8 AR-10 style rifles. That means they're 308 or 7.62. Yes, I know someone will argue characteristics below. I'm talking about bore diameter versus bullet diameter versus groove diameter. If you don't know what those words mean and why one and the other are not directly related, because you didn't look it up, don't comment. One of them was a bolt action. The others were all looked like AR-15s to most people. They don't know the difference. That's fine. Out of 1,050 rounds fired, or more, 1,049 mostly came from 12 of 13 AR-15 style rifles. 12 of them were 223, 5.56 chambered. Whether you like hearing that or not, again, you'll comment below. And again, what are you talking about? And one of them was Wylde chambered to tolerate both types of cartridge pressures, dimensions, and head spacings. Yes, I actually do know what I'm talking about, but I'm deliberately being inflammatory to people who need to nitpick on one characteristic so they can use it as an anchor so you can't drag them towards reality. 12 of the rifles had bump stocks, and or 12 bump stocks were found. The most likely scenario is they were on a gun. And there were, coincidentally, 12 100-round magazines. That doesn't mean 100-round magazines were used by the asshole who did this, but they were existent. There were also 40 and 25-round mags, and I made the mistake at some time thinking there were 60-round mags as well, because that was actually a much more common alternative. But, well, that's another video I did a long time ago. There were over 1,000 unfired rounds. I'm not quibbling about the number. And a lot of spent shell casings that amounted to the number fired plus. All of this was in the hotel, and down below in a car was explosives. And there may or may not have been explosives in the room. That's not relevant. The individual showed up with several thousand rounds, many rifles, the majority of which were the stereotypical AR-15s, and the majority of them were firing fairly high-capacity magazines. I have done a video on 100-round coffin magazines, as they're sometimes called, and their practicality for storage, which is all I've ever considered them for. My preferred, if anybody wants to ask, my preferred magazine size is whatever will fit inside the gun to where you can't tell anybody's loaded anything. I don't like the dangly bit. Okay, I'm saying that way to, of course, inflame people who are easily irritated by people. At his home, they found 19 other firearms. I don't care to list them because they're not directly related, and thousands of rounds, and even more explosives. Now, the explosives could be or could not be claimed to be not true explosives. I understand the quibbling, but they weren't employed, so it's a moot point. All of this stuff traced directly back to a person who made no effort, really, to hide that he had done this and had collected the equipment. It all traces back to him, or almost all of it. All right? Some of the stuff is just stuff that was bought that didn't have any ability to be traced. 1,049 shots in 10 minutes from 12 rifles at 500 yards or around thereabouts. Again, someone will quibble. Killing total 60 people out of 413 that were actually hit by bullets, fragments of bullets, and shrapnel resulting from bullets. Out of 867 total injured, with 454 hurt due to other causes not related directly to a bullet strike or an impact of something driving something into them, like a bullet ricocheting a piece of material at them. Out of a crowd of at least 14,000 is the estimate that you find most commonly cited, and I'm using Mr. Visual's video simply because the procedure is not invalid. It's not a tiny number. It's also not almost double this, as claimed by the ticket sales. A bunch of tickets were sold, and about a third of the people showed up that night, because it was the last night. Or more accurately, were in the crowd at that moment. Or was it really 61 people dead? I'm not including Paddock, so I'm going to take one off. 700 injured from 1,000 bullets. So, conclusion people make. This is an extremely short form version. We've already spent over 7 minutes giving you accurate data here. This is the best I can do right now, with the information you needed to hear first. Most gunshots in the videos, or the sounds of it, made contact, versus 413 out of 1,049 shots. We're going to chop the numbers off here and just say 41% actually hit somebody. And people could be hit, several people could be hit by one bullet going through a hand or an arm and hit another person, or entirely pass through a person and hit another person and not kill any of them. This resulted in hundreds of people going to the hospital. Out of hundreds, I mean, we're talking about 800 people plus injured in some way that required that you make note of an injury, not just for lawsuit issues, but for needing medical help. And probably hundreds more that were just injured, but it was a minor injury. There could also be, and there's actually a couple of rumors of this, of people having found out weeks later they'd been shot because the bullet went through part of their arm or their abdomen. They didn't know. They just thought they fell down and got a bruise. So the numbers go up and down over time when it's being reported on. By the police, by the hospitals. Because you have walking wounded. You also have people who were assumed to be wounded, but it was found that it was a penetrating injury by falling on something sharp. So these are numbers as of today, years later. Was this tragedy completely forgotten quickly, as some people claim? It's being dusted on the road. Or was it run through a massive cycle? Were people hailed as heroes and then dropped as zeros? On and on and on the questions go. This doesn't seem logistically possible. The numbers are too big or too small. Some people have decided that a 41% hit rate, firing into basically fish in a barrel, in a fairly compact area, visually on an angle, would result in either a massively higher or massively lower number, and then don't quote the correct numbers. Or more accurately, don't quote accurate numbers. Did the Las Vegas Police Department and MGM and mainstream media change their official story? Or did they find out later they were wrong about what they said originally because someone had been mistaken, or they misinterpreted a video, or they misinterpreted someone's statements in a radio broadcast? Or did someone in the heat of the moment say one thing and later on realize, no, it really wasn't like that, I was just scared? Yes, I'm talking about a specific individual. Was he the only shooter? Was he really involved at all? Was it the Loch Ness Monster? Okay, I know that sounds like, being silly about it. Was it monkeys in raincoats? Yes, that's actually a reference to something that was being bandied about. Okay. Why some people won't or can't let themselves believe in the basic facts here. Someone fired firearms that were altered just in one way that was perfectly legal at the time and got away with firing a lot more shots into a compact area. Why can't they? Now this is the part of the video where I'm not doing common misconceptions or common memes here, and I'm not doing the straight up facts as best I can find. I deliberately limited myself to looking this stuff up for only 3 hours. I thought that'd be enough. I'm still missing data. Because nowhere is a basic strip of data like this. When something is an historical fact, eventually it's broken down to a rather annoying set of statistics like this. Wikipedia did a good job, but no estimate on the crowd size. 22,000 tickets sold, but only 14,000 plus showed that night, or were there at that moment before the shots were fired, because they were milling in and out of the area. Why do people feel it is a necessity to go into denialism, as I keep calling it? Some trying to exonerate Paddock and make him a hero, if possible, to do pushback. If you want gun control in the country, this is a really shitty example, so people don't bring it up. You might have noticed they don't. They do about the bump stock. But the reason they don't bring it up about gun control is Stephen Paddock, until he pulled that trigger, would have gone through and passed every form of gun control in existence in every country as of today's date and that year. No, you couldn't have stopped him from doing this. He went to the only place he knew of where he could get away with renting. At one point, he was trying to rent one wing of a building and the other wing he rented because he had a lot of money. He was able to buy a bunch of firearms and wait the period of time, if there was any, easily. And he amassed them over a long period of time because he had a long-running desire to do this for various reasons we will never know, because the only person who knows what he really was thinking made sure that the parts would do the thinking weren't there anymore. Heck, he could have been suffering from some sort of medical problem with his brain. We don't have that data because of the way he made sure he wasn't here anymore. I'm not going to use any words that are going to get me flagged. By the way, the preamble I did, or whatever you want to call it, for the video, was for the reviewers. People who are insisting that the Second Amendment is about a plot to take their guns can't have this be their favorite story, because he's an example of a person that wouldn't have had the guns taken away. Each group of people needs to make a mythology about this if they need to, and it's usually because of the argument from consequences. Not based on facts forcing them to deal with reality. It's based on them fixating on an outcome that they need to have happen. Some of them want a threat to their Second Amendment rights. Some of them want a threat to their safety and some big bad boogeyman. And the rest of us are sitting here saying, no, we couldn't have prevented this, and there's nothing that could have been done except for someone to shoot him immediately because they would be an armed security guard instead of an unarmed security guard. I'm not blaming those people, but would that have done it? What would be your solution? Without arguing the basic factual data I presented that you can go double check, even if it takes you 3 hours instead of it being literally a string of data on a Wikipedia article. Like it should be. Like it should be everywhere. Because this should be done, right? That's not how chaos works. There will always be unknowns. Thanks for watching. Have a good day. Good luck with that. Now please post your opinions if you wish to. Or don't. You don't have to.